Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the new series. My name is Pooja Divedi. Today we are going to discuss all about Deputy Speaker. Now it is important to know about this from the perspective of GS Mains Paper Second and of course from the perspective of preliminary exam as well. So what is the news? What does the Constitution say? Constitution say about Deputy Speaker. How was this post envisaged? Other than that, what happens if the post of Deputy Speaker is vacant? Is it really mandatory to have a deputy speaker? How soon must they be elected? What are the term of service and removal, powers of them, the stand of the union government when it comes to the vacancy of deputy speaker seats right now, and can the courts intervene in cases where delay in electing of deputy speaker is registered? So what is the news? The Supreme Court has issued notices recently to the centre as well as the governments of 5 states, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and Jharkhand, in order to have deputy speaker, because these states and the union and the centre as well, they have failed to elect a deputy speaker. And the petition which has been filed against it, says it is in violation of the letter against the letter and spirit of the Constitution. Okay. So that is why it is important to know from the perspective of the examination. Now, first of all, let us talk about what does the Constitution say about Deputy Speaker. According to Article 93, it is said that the House of the People shall, as soon as may be, choose 2 members. So first thing is that there is the usage of word shall. That means there has to be a Deputy Speaker. And as soon as may be, that means there is no certain term under which we should have an election for the deputy speaker. But as soon as maybe, choose 2 members to be speaker as well as deputy speaker. The origin of the speaker and deputy speaker goes back to 1921. During the Montagu-Chelmsford reform, we could find the origin of speaker and deputy speaker. And so often as the office of speaker or deputy speaker becomes vacant, the house shall choose another member. So there is the usage of word shall, which makes it mandatory. Now, according to Article 178, corresponding position of speaker and deputy speaker is to be there for the legislative assembly of a state. All right. Moving ahead to the next point. See, how was this post envisaged? Now, during the pre-independence era on May 19th, 1941, H.V. Kamath says that if the speaker resigns, it will be far better if he addresses his resignation to the president and not the deputy speaker. How can the speaker assign or address their letter to somebody who is junior to them? Okay, because the deputy speaker holds an office subordinate to him. This was his you can say stand. But Dr. B.R. Ambedkar disagreed, saying that the president doesn't appoint the deputy speaker. It is he or she is appointed by the house, and house is represented by people who have elected them. So one thing is to be there, that if the speaker has to resign, then he or she shall address this to the deputy speaker only. For this very reason, Dr. Ambedkar said that. So the speaker and deputy speaker are appointed or chosen by the house. When Neelam Sanjeev Reddy resigned as speaker of the 4th Lok Sabha on July 19th, 1969, he addressed his resignation to the deputy speaker based on that premise only. Okay, moving on. But what happens if the post of the deputy speaker remains vacant? See, the house is informed of the resignation of the speaker by the deputy speaker. And if the office of the deputy speaker is vacant, then by the secretary general who receives the resignation of the house. So if there is no deputy speaker, speaker can give it to the secretary general, and the resignation is then notified in the Gazette and the Bulletin. All right, moving on. According to Articles 93 and 178, as we saw the usage of the word shall, it makes mandatory for the election of speaker and deputy speaker. It is mandatory, okay? And there is no such thing as a number of hours or weeks that have been given in the Constitution. It says that as soon as may be. Okay, that means soon as possible. No terms, it could be days, weeks or months. This is very subjective. So in both the Articles 93 and 178, it was said that as soon as may be, it is possible to have a speaker and deputy speaker for the house. It should be. Okay. And during the first session of the new house, it happens usually on the third day after the oath taken and affirmations of the first 2 days. The election of deputy speaker is usually taking place in the second session, and for speakers it is mostly the first. Okay, moving on. According to Rule 8 of the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business of Lok Sabha, election of deputy speaker shall be held on such date as the speaker may fix. So it is, the onus is on the speaker. The deputy speaker is elected once a motion proposing his name is carried on in the house. Moving on. Now let's talk about the term and removal. Once a person has been elected as the deputy speaker, they usually continue in the office for the entire duration of the house, according to Article 94 and corresponding Article 179 for the state assemblies. The speaker and the deputy speaker shall vacate his or her office if he ceases to be a member of the house, or they may also resign to each other or may be removed from office by a resolution of the House of the People, which is passed by a majority of all the then members of the house. All right, so these are the certain things we have to keep in mind. Now, according to Article 95, Clause 1, while the office of speaker is vacant, the duties of the office shall be performed by the deputy speaker. And all references to the speaker in the rules are deemed to be references to the deputy speaker when he presides. Okay, so this is the significance of the deputy speaker. Moving on, if we talk about other powers, it has been repeatedly held that no appeal lies to the speaker against a ruling given by the deputy speaker or any person presiding in the house over the house in the absence of the speaker. Now, according to Article 95, Clause 1, while the office of speaker is vacant, the duties of the office shall be performed by the deputy speaker. So this is the significance of the deputy speaker. And in general, the deputy speaker has the same powers as the speaker when they are presiding over the house. This is a preliminary fact for you. All references which have been made to the speaker in the rules are deemed to be references to the deputy speaker whenever he or she is presiding as the speaker. All right, moving on. And it has been repeatedly held that no appeal lies to the speaker against a ruling given by the deputy speaker or any person presiding over the house in the absence of the speaker. Suppose I am the speaker, I am absent, some other person has presided in my stead. So what the person was, performing their duties as the speaker. But what happens if I return back? Nobody can appeal against the deputy speaker now while he was or she was presiding as the speaker, okay, in my presence now. So the stand of the union government when it comes to what is the current situation of the vacancy. The treasury benches have maintained that there is no immediate requirement for a deputy speaker, although the word shall presents that there is a mandate. You have to have a deputy speaker. They are saying that there is a panel of 9 members, senior, experienced and selected from different parties who can act as chairpersons or assist to the speaker to run the house. So because of that only, they do not deem it necessary that there should be a deputy speaker. Now, it has been the usual practice to offer the post of deputy speaker to the opposition. Remember that. It is not written anywhere, but it is a practice or a convention. For example, Charanjit Singh Atwal, then a constituent of NDA, he was an SAD. He was the deputy speaker during 2004 to 2009. Then Karya Munda of BJP occupied the post during 2009 to 2014. And then M. Thambidurai was deputy speaker during the first Narendra Modi government. So this is by convention. Moving on now, if we talk about can the courts intervene in cases when there is no election of the deputy speaker. See, in September 2021, a petition was filed before the Delhi High Court that this practice of not having a deputy speaker is in violation of Article 93. And no precedent of a court is there that forces the legislature to have a deputy speaker. It should come from within the house. Courts usually don't intervene in the procedural conduct of the parliament. What is going with the procedure should go on, and courts do not generally intervene. Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much for watching and stay updated.